God planted a paradise in the east, flourishing with all sorts of trees, and that among them was the tree of life and of knowledge, whereby was to be known what was good and evil. And that when he brought Adam and his wife into this garden, he commanded them to take care of the plants. Now the garden was watered by one river, which ran round about the whole earth, and was parted into 4 parts. God therefore commanded that Adam and his wife should eat of the rest of the plants, but to abstain from the tree of knowledge, and foretold to them that if they touch it, it would prove their destruction. But while all the living creatures had one language, at that time the serpent, which then lived together with Adam and his wife, showed an envious disposition at his supposal of their living help, and in obedience to the commands of God, and imagining that when they disobeyed them, they would fall into calamities, he persuaded the woman out of a malicious intention to taste the fruit of the tree of knowledge, telling her that in that tree was the tree of good and evil, which knowledge, when she should obtain, she would lead a happy life, a life not inferior to that of a god, by which means he overcame the woman and persuaded her to despise the command of God. Now when she had tasted of that tree and was pleased with its fruit, she persuaded Adam to make use of it also. Upon this they perceived that they were naked to one another, and were ashamed to appear abroad. They invented somewhat to cover them, for the tree sharpened their understanding, and they covered themselves with fig leaves, and tying these before them out of modesty, they thought they were happier than they were before, as they had discovered what they were in want of. But when God came into the garden, Adam was conscious of his wicked behavior, so he went out of the way. This behavior surprised God, and he asked what was the cause of this his procedure. When he made no reply, as conscious to himself that he had transgressed the command of God, God said, I had before determined about you both, how you might lead a happy life without any affliction, and that all things which contribute to your own accord, without your own labor and pain taking. But now you have abused this my good will, and have disobeyed my commands. For your silence is not the sign of your virtue. However, Adam accused his sin and entreated God not to be angry at him, and laid the blame of what was done upon his wife, and said that he was deceived by her, while again she accused the serpent. Then God allotted him punishment, because he weakly submitted to the counsel of his wife, and said the ground should not yield its fruits of its own accord, but that when it should be harassed by his labor, it should bring forth fruits, and refuse to bring forth others. He also made Eve liable to the inconvenience of breeding and the sharp pain of bringing forth children, and this because she persuaded Adam with the same arguments wherewith the serpent had persuaded her, and had thereby brought him into calamitous condition. He also deprived the serpent of speech, and inserted poison under his tongue, and made him an enemy to man, suggested to them that when they should direct their strokes against his head, that being the place wherein lay his mischievous designs towards man, and it being easiest to take vengeance on him that way. And when he had deprived him of the use of his feet, he made him to go rolling all along, and dragging himself upon the ground. And when God had appointed these penalties for them, he removed Adam and Eve out of the garden into another place,